What's up, everybody? Marcos Villegas here, doing a Q&A live right now with you guys. Just gonna give you all a few moments to go ahead and check in. I'm working on some videos right now, uploading Anthony Joshua's training that he had from today, as well as the Miguel Cotto versus Saddam Ali press conference. That's actually up on the channel right now, as well as the face-off between Cotto and Saddam Ali. What's up, everybody? What's up, Champ Boxer? And what's up, Jonathan? What's going on, man? Thanks for tuning in. Like I was saying before, I'm actually uploading Anthony Joshua working up on the mitts right now. Wickety split. Hey, what's up, bro? How's it going? So we're going to have a lot of Anthony Joshua video coming up, as well as video with Eddie Hearn, with Miguel Cotto, with Oscar as well. So I'm going to try to my best do this Q&A and also work on some of these videos at the same time, so you guys can go ahead and get it in a timely manner. So I wanted to go ahead and speak a little bit about the fights that happened over the weekend with Leo Santa Cruz, with Abner Mares, as well as the Showtime fights that happened over the weekend as well, and then some fight announcements. The news, of course, Anthony Joshua not fighting Pulev anymore. He's fighting some other guy I've honestly never even heard of. But, you know, it's a defense. At least it saves the event, and people get a chance to see him fight. And it keeps him active, which is important for a fighter. As well as the recently announced fight of David Lemieux versus BJ Saunders. That's a really, really good fight. I like it a lot. Yeah, man, I love Joel, dude. Joel's a cool guy, a very cool guy. Super genuine, super nice. He keeps it real, and he's hilarious. Ask Joel to take you out to his ranch to go chase rattlesnakes, to go catch rattlesnakes with him. It's crazy. So, Anthony Joshua is fighting Carlos Takam. Never heard of the dude, so if you guys know anything about him, let me know, because it'll be news to me, because I don't know how this guy is, his style, or anything like that. So what I'll do is I'll start answering a few questions, and then we'll refer over to the fights that happened over the weekend, and then we'll go ahead and do some more Q&A questions as well. So just give me a moment, guys. Let me upload this Anthony Joshua clip of him working on the mitts. I just got to do a few things really quick. So just bear with me. Just give me about 30 seconds. So I'll go ahead, start throwing in your guys' questions, and I'll scroll through them. I'll go through them right now. By the way, looking at this Joshua video, dude looks sharp, looks powerful on the mitts. He looks... I still can't... When I look at this guy, man, I feel like I'm looking at the Hulk, dude. It's weird. It's not weird, but it's like superhuman proportions. It's crazy. It's... You guys remember how Alistair Overeem used to look like before the during the whole TRT thing? Or Overeem was like unreal. He looked like a comic book character, man. Yeah, yeah, Kid Stacy. A lot of people say that, but Overeem looked like a comic book character. And like I look at Joshua's physique, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man, how? It's just crazy, dude. He looks like a comic book character, man. Good genetics, dude. God, I wish I had those genetics. But let me finish this real quick. Start sending in your guys' questions, guys. I'll almost be done. I just got to do a little thing here so you guys have this video up. It's already uploaded. I just got to fill a few things out. But make sure to send your questions in right now, and I'll get to them. Just want to make sure you guys are able to see Joshua on the mitts. If you guys are just tuning in as well, we got stuff from the Miguel Cotto press conference up as well, the face-off and the full press conference. We actually got Miguel Cotto and Oscar De La Hoya, so I got to work on those interviews when I'm done with this Q&A with you guys. So just give me one. Just bear with me. Just send in your questions while I finish out this clip for you guys. Bear with me, guys. Almost done. Just gotta grab a quick thing here, and then we'll be on our way. Well, this is probably gonna take forever. So, all right, let's go ahead and get the questions going. The clip is up. I'll scroll through your guys' questions now. Talk about what happened over the weekend and some of the breaking news in the world of combat sports that happened as well. Still no Cyborg versus Home fight, which sucks. I really, really want to see that fight. I think it's a great fight for both fighters. It'd be super exciting as well. All right. I'm going to go scroll through your guys' questions. And let's go ahead and see. Who wins the World Boxing Super Series tournament at 168 pounds? Kid Stacy has Chris Eubank Jr. I think naturally Eubank Jr. is the favorite in the fight, but he has a tough fight against George Groves, man. George Groves is very experienced, has been in a lot of really huge, big fights, though he's been through a lot of wars, been knocked out twice, has a lot of mileage, even though they're close to the same age. Groves has a lot of mileage on him, man, a lot of mileage on him. And then even then, after Eubank gets past Groves, people are figuring that it's going to be him and Caleb Smith in the final as well, another tough fight. So I think, you know, when you look at skills, attributes, traits, I think a safe bet is Chris Eubank Jr. to win the tournament because, you know, when you compare Eubank Jr. to Caleb Smith, Eubank Jr. I guess is a little bit more battle-tested than Caleb. That fight that he had with Saunders happened many, many years ago, and he just wasn't ready at that point. I think now it's the perfect moment, the perfect time for him. So either way, these next two fights are going to be very tough for all of the people that are involved in them, and we're going to see, you know, who deserves to have that mantle as best in the division, even though there's still some standouts with that. And, you know, I just hope that when someone wins the tournament, still able to, well, that they'll make it imperative to go and unify. That's what I'm hoping. The Rap Collective. Should Wilder Joshua be in the UK, Wembley, or in the USA? Well, it depends what the goal is for Joshua. If they're looking for making the most money, well, obviously they have to have it in the UK because that's where his business is, that's where he's most popular in. If they're trying to adopt a strategy where they really want to build up the fan base of Anthony Joshua and build him as this world figure, they have to bring him over here. And they have to build him up here to our market here in the United States and build him up to the pay-per-view market as well. So if I was his promoter, I would push bringing him here because the money potential here in the United States is a lot bigger than keeping him in the UK. We charge a lot more for our pay-per-views, which freaking sucks because I know how much pay-per-views are in the UK. They're like 20 bucks, which is ridiculous. You guys get a freaking steal when it comes to pay-per-views. Try paying on average 65, 75 bucks for a pay-per-view, and when it's a mega fight, they charge us $100 freaking dollars for these pay-per-views. So you guys have it good out there. So Wickety Split. Marcos, how was it when you interviewed my fantasy wife, Ronda Rousey? Honestly, I was a bit, I guess, befuddled for a little bit with Ronda. I remember sitting there and I was like, oh shit, it's Ronda. Like, she's like right there, like feet away from me. And it's weird. I think I did get a little nervous at first that I was interviewing her. I remember the last interview that we did, I messed up a bunch of times in like my intro, my take. I just kept messing up because I don't know, I guess I was in my head. And she's like, I asked her like, oh, you know what, you open up the interview for us. And she went ahead and did it, and it was a great interview. We nerded out. She's a huge video game fan, likes Pokemon. My phone rang during the interview, but I had a noise, a Mega Man noise. My notification at that time was Mega Man dying. And it went off, and we kind of looked at each other like, what the hell, you know? And I'm like, yeah, you know, that's my notification. And we just both had a good laugh. She's good peeps. What's up, Paulo? How's it going, man? Saludos de Colombia, gracias. Saludos. God bled bliss. I'm not a big John Cena fan, but all I know is you can't see me, son. You can't see me. Gary M. Q&A last week. You were close to the fire. Did your house not get damaged? No. Luckily, I was about 20 minutes away from the fire, so it didn't catch us at all, luckily. Usman Faraz, is Anthony Joshua overhyped? I don't think anybody who wins a gold medal is overhyped. The hype is real. Gary M, did you hear about Steve Collins will fight Nigel Benn? I'm not a fan of it. Those guys retired for a reason. There's a reason why fighters retire and don't fight in their 50s. I'd be worried about the health of both fighters taking shots to the head. I was interviewed actually and asked about this on Talk Sport over in the UK. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it at all. Dwayne B, what up, man? Dwayne B asked, was Lubin Charlo too soon for Lubin? Yes, it was. And we saw the result of that on Saturday night. And wow, what a result. I was not expecting that from Charlo. Not that I was doubting him. I picked him to win the fight. But I wasn't expecting it to be over that quick. You know, Lubin... And I did a lot of research on Lubin for the Fox show that he was on. I think he was on the undercard of Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder versus Brazil, or Deontay Wilder versus... No, Deontay Wilder versus Gallo Negro. He was on there. And, you know, he was one of the most talked about amateurs in a really, really long time. When he decided to go pro, USA Boxing threw a freaking fit because they were saying he was the best bet of a gold medal for the United States. Now, my cat over here is messing with my coffee. Great, now I can't drink my coffee because he put his dirty freaking paws on the straw. Thanks. Okay. So yeah, so when that fight was announced, I was like, what the heck? Like, why are they making this fight? Like, I see both sides in it, and this is like across the board, and I've seen this trend with Golden Boy, and I've seen it with the PBC, where they just kind of throw them out to the sharks, and whoever wins, and that person's deserving of being promoted, and you just can't protect these guys anymore. You can't, you know, have them get up to like a 26-0, 27-0 record, and then finally have them have tough fights. So I commend them for doing that, and I commend them, all the fighters also, for willing to take those challenges. Thing is, I feel like they're doing it too early for a lot of these guys, because a guy like Lubin, you could have taken to 23-0 and then put him in with the Charlo fairly quick by the end of next year. And now, you know, his career takes a huge hit back, and it just, I don't know, I feel like a lot of these guys are being I don't want to say mismanaged, because they're getting paid well, but in a way they're getting thrown in too soon with these guys that they shouldn't be thrown in with, and they should be thinking about, well, which guys they want to build up, because they need to have a stable of guys that are marketable, that they've built up just in case when, you know, you start having these matchups like that, they have a big enough fan base that if they do lose, it's not a big hit to them, and they don't take a big hit financially as well because of that. On the other end, I also, you know, see it as the strong survive. And if you're put in these fights and you survive, you're deserving of the push, you're deserving of the fans. And, you know, it's pretty much what it is, you know. At that point, it's the strong survives. And I think, you know, that's how boxing should be. We want to see consistently the best versus the best. But I think in the case of that one, and even Terrell Gasha versus Erislandy Lara, that's another fight that I don't think they should have made. It was way too early for Terrell to be fighting someone like Erislandy Lara. You know, I just, in the case of those two, I think it was just way too early. They should have waited with those guys, because Lubin had potential to get a big fan base, to turn into a star, at least in boxing. I don't know about mainstream, but a star in boxing as well. And, you know, you've seen it happen too in the PBC on Fox series, where a lot of these guys, these prospects, they get put in with other prospects that I think it's too early to be having those matchups at all for these guys, and they're just throwing them in there, and it's only let the strong survive, you know. So that's my opinion on it. Deron Burton, yeah, she does like Pokemon. She does play Pokemon Go. Jello, I'll get to Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko in a bit. Big Show, 50-1. Tommy, TNT Life, what you think Conor, bro? I think you're asking about what do I think about Conor. I think he should fight Ferguson and then go into a boxing fight. Just get another win in there for him. Nathaniel Estrada, do you see the Charlos as a threat in their divisions? Yes. At 54, I still think Lara is the best at that division, though I know Jermell would give Charlo a run for his money. They used to spar together. They were on the same team. So it would be a very good and competitive fight, but just given Erislandy's Lara's style, I would favor him just a little bit, but it could be something where just Charlo's too young, too strong for him, too active, and he really takes away the fight. There is a blueprint to beat Lara. Canelo showed it, even though a lot of you guys feel that Canelo did not win that fight. But if you pressure him, oh, I just forgot the Angulo fight. There you go, too. If you pressure the guy, you put a lot of pressure, you cut the ring off, you're going to have success against him. Jello, thoughts on Inoue? Possible pound-for-pound ranker. He needs more wins. I think if he beats Estrada and Rungenthasai, he's going to get put up there on the pound-for-pound list. Kid Stacy, Spence is not fighting until 2018. Is that bad management or a product of fighters ducking him? No, he's fighting Lamont Peterson at the end of the beginning of 2018. So it's not too long. It's not too long. Let's see here. Did anyone watch the UK fight where the ref said break and one of the fighters? Yeah, I saw that, Tony. Tona Webb. So in this fight, they're like in a clinch and the ref says break. And they break and then the guy completely like sucker punches him. It's interesting. He got rightfully disqualified, even though I could see other refs not labeling a disqualification because it's protect yourself at all times. He asked for a break. They broke, and then immediately he threw the punch. So I could see it that way as well. Mayweather will never fight in the UFC or in an octagon. No freaking way. Usman, Faraz, do you think Saunders will win his next fight against David Lemieux? That's a tough fight. He's going to have to box David Lemieux. He can win that fight if he boxes David Lemieux, because we've seen if you box David Lemieux, you can beat him. Case in point, Gennady Golovkin. Do you think Thurman is scared of Spence? No. I think that Keith Thurman wants to be active and sharp before that Spence fight. He wants to build it up. So it's natural, man. You know, he was out with an elbow injury and then he got married. So it's natural to want to have a tune-up fight to look sharp and then go into a big fight like that. We saw that with Leo Santa Cruz. It's a good thing Leo Santa Cruz had a tune-up fight, because for the first few rounds, he didn't look very sharp. And then in the middle of the fight, up until the end of the fight, he looked really sharp. So I understand when someone says, hey, this is a tough freaking fight. I need a tune-up. I haven't fought in forever. I'm doing myself a disservice if I don't have a tune-up fight to prepare for this guy, as long as they live up to their word where they say, I will fight this guy next. I just need a tune-up. For me, I'll give them a pass. But if they say that and then they don't fight that guy, they don't get a pass. Do you think Cotto would have stopped Mikey Garcia? That's an interesting question. That's a good question. Cotto has been in there with bigger guys. He's taken the bigger guys' punches, and they haven't stopped him. Canelo Alvarez didn't stop Miguel Cotto, which was crazy. Seeing how much bigger Canelo Alvarez was. I think, you know, if it would have happened maybe via a hook or a body shot, I think, honestly, I think the fight would have won 12 rounds. Slip says Laura is called the American Dream because he puts everyone to sleep. Now, I read a lot of people's tweets on that night, and they were saying that when the Laura fight started, like halfway through, people just started leaving their seats because they were so bored. And wow, that's crazy, man. When you get to the main event, and you know, these tickets aren't cheap. Like some events, they're like reasonably priced, but you're that bad for thousands of people to leave during your fight like that. That's, jeez, man. That's saying something else. Gary M, hearing Conor fighting Paulie in talks. You hear any truth to it? Yeah, there is truth to it. There's been feelers put out there. They're exploring the possibilities, even though Dana on the record has said that Conor is fighting in a UFC event in his next fight. But, you know, money talks. The thing is with that fight, I don't know. You know, there's a big risk for Conor, you know. And you could say, no, there's not. He goes in, he's not a boxer. He goes into this fight with Paulie. He loses the Paulie. He could just go back to the UFC, which he can. But I think if they do it smart with Conor, he could still make a lot of money in boxing. They could feed him to bums, build up his record, and then go into the Malignaggi fight. And even if they feed him to bums, he's going to make a lot of money, you know. If you want to maximize the amount of money that he's going to make, you can go ahead and do that with him. Just worried if he goes in there with Paulie and Paulie makes him look really bad, that's it for him in boxing, and rightfully so, you know. But I think that fight with Paulie is a fight that Conor can win. Call me crazy, but I think he can win that fight. But am I picking Conor to win? No, I would still pick Paulie to win, but I could see it being a very, very close fight. Thoughts on CM Punk being a joke in the MMA community? No one gives him props for stepping in. Do you think the boxing community or world would have ridiculed him? I think maybe, but not to that extent. Damn, if CM Punk made the jump to boxing, I don't think he would have been ridiculed the way he was in MMA. I think more people would have given him props and respect for going in there and trying it, to be honest. There was a guy that was in jail for a long time. His name was Dewey Bozella, I believe. And he had a pro fight against a normal guy, and he won. And everybody gave him respect and props because he went through the training. He was man enough to go and have a professional fight where a lot of people would normally not do that. So I think the response would have been different if he would have went to boxing as opposed to MMA, to be honest. Yeah, the MMA community is vicious, man. They'll let you have it. Let's see here what else you guys are question-wise and stuff like that. Conor versus Brandon Rios. That fight's never going to happen, man. Brandon Rios is going to fight Danny Garcia. That fight's going to happen. They're already in talks, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to announce something pretty soon for that fight. Let's see here. Didn't Conor drop Paulie in sparring? Well, that depends who you ask. If you ask Conor, Conor's going to say yes, he did drop him with that video that they released. If you asked Paulie Malignaggi and he's stood steadfast in this, he says that no, it was a slip, he was off balance, and he was hit behind the head. So, depends. I saw the clip. It looked like a combination of he was off balance and it was a little bit... He hit him and then he landed like this little like push on him and stuff. You know, for me, it was a push. But I could see how a ref can, if they're not closely looking at it, I could see how a ref would rule that a knockdown, but I could also see it how a ref would rule that as a slip too. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the action that happened over the weekend. Well, yeah, my hair's good, huh? I just got a cut, looking fresh to death, wickety split. So Leo Santa Cruz KOs Chris Avalos, being there ringside. Leo didn't look super sharp in the first few rounds, but it seemed like he adjusted and got his rhythm and his timing in the middle of the fight. I think the fight should have been stopped in round 4 or 5. The Avalos was just, he's out on his feet. You could tell the guy was taking punches that changed careers. Like it was not good. He was taking these punches flush. His fucking head was going like a Pez dispenser. I really think the ref should have stopped the fight. There was a lot of us on press row that started yelling, "Stop the damn fight!" It was bad. I don't like seeing situations like that. You could clearly tell he was out on his feet. You know, there's been a few other occasions that Avalos has shown the ability to come back. In his fight with Mark Magsayo in the Philippines, he was out for like 2 rounds on his feet. So maybe the ref did some research on him, saw that, you know, he's been in a position like that before and he can't come back. But Avalos wasn't the same after that 4th round. His punches were slow. There's nothing on him. His feet look off. I'm honestly surprised he lasted as long as he did after that round. Leo took it easy on him after that round, but then he started putting up the pressure, and just, you worry for a guy like that when they're taking a lot of punches like that. You worry about their health and their career, and especially Avalos, you know. He doesn't make a lot of money. He's not a big name fighter, you know. So you got to look out for the guy, because the guy's gonna fight for as long as he can, you know, because it's the only thing he knows how to do is boxing. So you got to really look out for him in his career when it comes to that. And let me just readjust this, guys. Abner Mares, though, in his fight, man, Mares looked sharp, guys. He looked fast, shooting his jab, combinations in and out. I was really impressed with him. And even though, you know, the opponent wasn't you know, I expected more from the opponent, to be honest. I'm sorry, I'm adjusting this thing, guys. So you're going to get a close-up of my face real quick. All right, let's see here. So I expected more from Mares. No, excuse me, no. I expected more from Mares' opponent. But he said, sorry, I'm reading your guys' comments and then adjusting this damn thing. Okay, here we go, finally. So Abner Mares looked good. He looked sharp, using the jab, in and out, through combinations, which he hasn't been doing in a long time. He was lighting up Andres Gutierrez, so I think he had a very strong performance on Saturday night. Because of that performance, if he keeps it up like that, I think he will be seen as maybe possibly the slight favorite in a rematch with Leo Santa Cruz. We spoke to Richard Schaefer, and he's saying that they're going to work on that rematch for March here in LA. They would love to get the Staples Center, but they still got to work out venue. But he was telling me like the middle of March or maybe the beginning of April is where they're targeting for that rematch, Santa Cruz versus Mares too. Who do you guys favor in that rematch? Do you think Santa Cruz would be the favorite again, or would it be Abner Mares? Shoot me your comments and let me know. You know, you're only as good as your last fight, and Abner Mares looked freaking sharp in that fight. Really, really sharp against Andres Gutierrez. Gene thinks Santa Cruz wins the rematch. What else? You know, what do you guys think? And yeah, we've had a great year for combat sports this year as well. We've got a lot of good fights that happened this year. You know, a lot of fights that I didn't think would happen. You know, and you know, we got Golovkin versus fucking Canelo, which was the important fight that we wanted to get and see. You know, so Cruz is very lanky. So all you guys so far think Leo Santa Cruz would still be the favorite against Abner Mares. So you guys didn't think that Abner Mares looked good? I thought he looked good, man. I thought he showed a lot of versatility in his game and a lot of improvements. So even with how he fought over the weekend, you don't think he has a better chance or he could be seen as the favorite in the fight? I'm asking you guys this. The Showtime fights were phenomenal. They were fantastic. I picked Jarrett Hurd to beat Austin Trout. And it was funny, I was telling people ringside there in Carson. Oh, well, hold on a second. I'm put on hold. Dude, Antonio DeMarco taking out freaking Eddie Ramirez? Kid 17-0, got taken out in the first round? Like, what the heck, you know? Like, WTF? Jesus. So, let me tell you something about Antonio DeMarco. So I interviewed him because I did a lot of the research notes for Fox, for the Fox broadcast for this fight. So I had to go and talk to Antonio DeMarco just to see how he was, what he's been up to, why he decided to come back and fight again, because he had supposedly retired after the last fight that he had with Figueroa, and then he got a fight in Mexico, and then he's in this fight. So I go to see him, and I speak to Tony DeMarco for like 40 minutes. And in that 40 minutes, man, it was a very emotional interview that I did with him. He almost broke down twice. One time he did cry. And dude's just lived a very hard life, but a very inspirational life as well, you know. If you don't know about DeMarco left home when he was like 14, 15 to go to Mexico City to see if he could play pro soccer. That didn't work out. He came back home, and his dad thought he was just out, he just was out causing trouble, and his dad kicked him out. He comes from a family of fighting, and he decided to go to TJ, Tijuana, Mexico, to make a living. So he gets to TJ, and he lives with his aunt, but his aunt kicked him out of the house. So DeMarco was homeless for a time, just wandering the streets, sleeping wherever the night would take him, eating out of trash cans, scavenging for food, until he was taken in by 3 families. And then there, little by little, in his 5th pro fight, he got signed with Gary Shaw. And even Gary Shaw, though, from what DeMarco told me, Gary Shaw said that he made a comment to Antonio DeMarco saying that, hey man, well, first, I don't know how you're fighting the way you're fighting because you look super malnourished, but I want to help you out. And that's how the story of DeMarco starts with him, you know. So that was he's had a very crazy and hard life. And then add to the fact, he was telling me that after he lost his lightweight title to Adrian Broner, he got depressed. He had to check into a clinic for depression. And then he found out the news that his sister had bone cancer. That affected him as well. He lost his fight with Jesse Vargas, and then he lost his fight with Rancis Barthélemy. He goes and he says he's going to retire. Then he comes back for this fight with Figueroa. So he's telling me with this fight with Figueroa, he only had a trainer the last 20 days of that fight. And that the day of the weigh-in, Figueroa outweighed him by 10 pounds. And he wouldn't. The fight was supposed to happen at 140, and Figueroa weighed at like 152. So they made a deal for the fight, but he told me that he just put on too much weight. DeMarco, that he felt slow and sluggish. But like now coming into this fight, he said that he was in a better place, that he fixed all his marital problems, that he finally had his old trainer back, that everything was going good. And he told me like, watch, I'm going to beat this guy. I know I'm being brought in as an opponent, as a stepping stone, but watch, I'm going to show everybody that I'm still here. And I'm going to be relevant again. And that he told me his goal is to win a world title and retire as a world champion. So he looked... honestly, at that first round, he was taking a lot of punishment, but he had his guard up high. But you know, I'm not gonna lie, I was seeing like crap. You know, I was getting the crap beat out of him, and then he catches Eddie Ramirez, and then he puts him away. You know, so that was a big win for him. I actually got to upload the interview that I did with Tony because he got emotional again. He almost cried after that win, and it's a good interview. And he thanked me for just taking the time out of my day during the week to talk to him. He said I was the only reporter that bothered to talk to him, that didn't ignore him. And he said he was really grateful. And you don't really hear that from fighters acknowledging us, giving them time or talking to them. They're always, you know, they're bashing us a lot of the time, you know, but we got a job to do and we have to do it. You know, I wish there was more. I wish it was more like that, the way Tony conferred his emotions to me when we did the interview. So I'll go ahead and upload that interview, not real quick, but after we're done with this live Q&A. I got a lot of stuff, man, that I got to send out to you guys. A lot of stuff from the busy day, and I got a ton of other stuff that I got to do. So the Showtime fights. Jarrett Hurd. This guy's like a zombie, man. Like, because he comes forward. Sometimes he has his hands down, and he gets hit with these punches. But at the end of it, somehow, some way, he always comes back and beats the guy that he's fighting. Like, he could be behind, he could be getting beat every single freaking round, but he just finds a way to win. It's really, really weird. You know, it happened in his last fight. I forget the kid that he beat, but he beat the brakes. That other kid was beating the crap out of him. You know, and then Jarrett Hurd comes from behind, knocks him out. Tony Harrison, there you go, Wickedy. Tony Harrison was beating the shit out of him, outboxing him like crazy. And then Hurd just creeps on him out of nowhere and beats him. Same thing with this Austin Trout fight, man. It looked like Austin Trout was getting the better of it. Had Hurd's face all bloodied up, and then all of a sudden, like in the 8th or 7th round, he starts landing these punches, and then he takes him out. He forces him to quit in his corner. So this guy's a creeper, man. I don't know how he does it. It's like the Terminator. No. You know how it is? Jarrett Hurd is like that character from It Follows, that horror movie, where you can't escape the dude. Whatever it is, it just keeps following you and following you and following you until it finally gets you. That's Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd is the real-life thing from It Follows, manifested in boxing form. That's who he is. Or you can make a funny nickname and call him the Zombie or something like that, because he's just like with his hands down, he's getting punches, and then he goes and he puts you out. So because of what happened in the Charlo fight, they're now pushing for Hurd, Charlo, Hurd, Lara. All three of the guys want to unify the division, so that's good. We're probably going to see unification. Probably going to see, though, Hurd, Charlo first before Lara, because they're all going to stay away from Lara. Not because they're scared, but because Lara doesn't bring big business. That's why, as sad as it sounds. Now on to the Charlo versus Lubin fight, man. Bilon Lara versus Mars, dude. Bilon's no joke, man. Pilon got some crack. He's supposed to fight Jojo Diaz. And if you've seen this guy, Jorge Lara, fight on the PBC shows, this dude's a sleeper, man, in more ways than one. You can't sleep on the guy, and he got crazy freaking knockout power, but I think he's done at featherweight. I think he has to move 230 pounds because that's what happened with the Jojo fight. He couldn't make the weight anymore, and he had to withdraw from the bout. So Charlo versus Lubin. They announced the fight, and honestly, my first immediate reaction towards the fight is, why? Why are they doing this to Lubin? This is way too early for him. He's a kid still. Like, what? Why? Look how many more fights Charlo has. How much more experience? Like, why are they doing this to him? You know. So that was my first initial thing, and I told a lot of my friends that I thought Charlo was gonna win because it's just too early for someone like Erickson Lubin, who honestly has never really fought anybody up to this point in his career. He hasn't fought any legit top 10 opponent, and then he goes in and fights this guy who's not more than top 10. He's probably number 1 or 2 in the division, you know. So, and then he suffers a devastating knockout in the first round. You don't know where his confidence is. You don't know where that chin's gonna be ever again. There's a lot of questions surrounding that, but I felt it was way too early. I did think that Charlo would win, but not like that. I thought it was gonna be, you know, a little competitive in the first 3 rounds, and then I thought Charlo would take over the fight because he has so much more experience. He seems he's just more composed, more disciplined in there with his punches. So we'll see what happens to Lubin. He is young, so you would expect that because he's so young, he's going to be able to get through this. But when you get knocked out like that, it doesn't matter how old you are. It matters how the chin is going to respond to punches from this point forward. Is he going to have the same type of confidence in the ring, or is he going to start questioning certain things he's done in there because he knows, if I do this, I can get knocked out again, and I don't want to get knocked out. And that's always the big thing when you suffer a knockout. It's the mental part. Am I the same fighter like I was before that doesn't fear getting knocked out because I have that confidence like no one can touch me? Or do they turn into a shell of themselves where they start questioning what they do? They start fighting differently. They're not as aggressive, or they're not fighting the way they used to because they know in their head, hey, I've been touched before and I was knocked out. I got to be smart about this, you know. And you've seen that to a degree with Manny Pacquiao. He's just not the same guy anymore. And you can say, you know, because of the age, but also, you know, the knockout is another thing as well. Main event, Lara versus Gausha. Another fight that I felt was way too early to take for Terrell. They just threw him in there against a guy who's had a lot of world title shots, such a pedigree with the guy, so many more fights than him. He fought Canelo. He's fought like the top guys for a long time, and thrown him in against this guy that never fought anybody. Like, you can't do these. You can't do this to these guys. You can't throw them in there when they've had subpar competition up until that point, and throw them in there with the guy who's like top 3. Lara's case, number 1 in the division by many accounts. You know, you can't do that to these kids, man. It's like, in a way, you're kind of messing up their careers, you know. And it comes back to the argument that I was saying. Well, if you subscribe to the school of only the strong survive, throw them all in there, and whoever wins deserves to be promoted, deserves to get the push, deserves to get all the glory, and all the other guys are hype trains. They don't deserve that because they're not beating these guys. Or you go through the other thing. The other school is, hey, these guys are young still. They're not in their physical primes yet. You're still building them, and you can't just throw them out to the wolves like that. You know, you got to get some sort of return on them as fighters because they haven't fully matured as fighters. You can't throw in somebody who hasn't fully matured as a fighter yet against a guy who's already matured. Lara and Charlo, both in their primes right now. So, you know, we'll see how it is. All right, guys, let's get back to the question part. I want to go ahead and thank you guys for tuning in, the people that are here speaking and interacting with me. Do me a big favor, guys. Go ahead and follow us at FightUpTV on Twitter and Instagram if you're not following us already. And then follow me as well at Hey It's Marcos V. We post a lot of stuff on social media. So go ahead and give us a follow as well. And then also, if you have friends that haven't seen the channel, haven't heard of our channel, go ahead and tell them to subscribe to the channel, please. We want to keep growing. We want to keep building, and want to keep getting content to people that really like it and appreciate combat sports as well. I need coffee. I need to focus today. I'm like borderline ADD, man. This is the only stuff that helps me focus and get shit done, you know? All right, back to the Q&A. Let's go. Jello. Single loss in boxing has harsher ramifications than in MMA. It's tough. These guys are meddling with careers and lives. It's a very good point, man. And it sucks on one end that losses mean so much in boxing as opposed to MMA. I would hope that someday in the future that changes, because it's not fair to the guys. Regardless, if a guy loses, doesn't mean they're done. If they're a good, exciting fighter, who cares if they lost? They're good and they're exciting, and you like to see them fight. So a loss shouldn't mean much, but you know, you gotta put blame on the record in boxing because there was so much emphasis put on it, not just by Floyd, but even before that. You know, even when we're getting these unification, like De La Hoya Trinidad, so much was put undefeated, both undefeated, both undefeated. You know, so that has to change, and it has to start with you guys, the fans. Still wanting to see these guys fight even after they lose, and not saying that the guy's done, he's washed because he lost one fight. You know, and that message has to spill over to the casual boxing fans out there in particular as well, so that when these guys lose, they don't think that, instead of thinking this guy's washed, he's done, they think, I want to see this guy fight again because he's a badass fighter, he's entertaining. That should be the attitude. Okay. Ozzy Guillon. Ozzy doesn't think the Laura fight was too early for Terrell. He thinks that Terrell was moving way too slow because he came from the Olympic team. Yeah, but he, you know, like, I don't agree. You know. Wickedy split. Marcos, would you let Deontay Wilder Charlie horse you in the arm for $1 billion? Yeah, for $1 billion. Yeah, I would definitely. OG Bullet 88. And who has Charlo fought? No one important. But here's not the thing though too with Charlo. You got to see who Charlo is with in camp. He has his brother who's a top guy was a top guy at 154, moved up to 160. Then he also has Irislandi Lara too. He's working with world-class elite guys as opposed to Lubin. Who's Lubin working with in Florida? Galarza? Like, who are the other guys? He doesn't have anywhere close to the guys that he's working with down over there. Oh, yeah, Spence, another guy in camp in there with him as well, you know? So, like, Charlo, the Charlos have, well, they used to. They had all these top elite guys all in one camp, so you can't base it off that. Yeah, he didn't fight anybody up to that point, but, you know, when you have guys like that, it's going to up your game by so much. They're getting good work in there, you know, as opposed to Lubin. He's not sparring anywhere near close to the guys that the Charlos were coming up and all that. All right, next question. I'm going to need glasses now, guys. This sucks. I'm getting old. Roberto Flack. Venezuela, blah, blah. At some point, Canelo's going to fight one of them. Very, very true. And both Charlos give Canelo and Gennady Golovkin a hell of a fight. I could see the Charlos beating both guys, to be honest. Gary, thank you for the support, bro. Thank you. Keep up the good fight. Let people know about our channel. Let's see. Ozzy, good response. I agree with you. Derek James, Trainer of the Year. Raymundo Razo. What's up, man? Thanks for sending in your question. Raymundo asks, who is your favorite welterweight right now at present? It's a good question. Let me think. 47. Who's my favorite right now? The one that I enjoy watching the most. Honestly, I would say it would be between Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. I would think those would be the two that I like watching the most. Keith because of his punching power. He can box and he can move. He's very charismatic. He's outspoken. I like that about him. Spence because he's a southpaw. I'm a southpaw. And he targets the body a lot too. I like that. You don't see a lot of black fighters working the body the way he works the body. And it's just a beauty to see him put everything together. You know, he's technical when he wants to be technical, but he can be a dog when he wants to be a dog. And he goes in there and he pressures you and he just targets the body. Let's see here. What do you think of Top Rank's ESPN venture so far? Asked Roberto again. I'm all for boxing on regular TV. I think whenever it's done on regular TV, it's good. It's a win-win regardless of who you're putting on there. Obviously, Top Rank's putting their guys that were on HBO on there, so it's even better. But I would hope that all boxing was on free TV instead of cable. Nothing against the cable guys. I have HBO. I have Showtime. They're all great people that are involved in there, but you got to look at it too as growing the sport, getting it on a level like what the UFC's done with MMA, where it's on free TV a lot of the time, and they're getting these big, great fights on free TV, and it makes it that much more accessible to people watching, and boxing needs to be accessible. You know, I pay an extra, I pay an extra close to $40 on my cable and internet bill to have HBO and Showtime. It sucks. I don't want to pay an extra $40 for these channels, but I have to be able to watch these fights. I would rather it be on free TV, to be honest. And a lot of people don't want to spend an extra $30 to $40 to have HBO or Showtime, and especially if they're getting crap fights on the cable networks. So, One Boxing King 1. Do you have a favorite fighter? Period. Yes, I do. I have a whole bunch, but I've always looked up to and I've always admired Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard. You know, when I was first getting into boxing and looking over tape, obviously being Mexican, you know, I always watched Chavez and I always liked that style. But the more I started studying boxing and training in it and working out in it, the more I would discover a lot of Sugar Ray stuff. And I would admire him because he could be slick when he wanted to, but he would brawl when he wanted to as well. He could do everything so well. He was very complete, you know, and I always liked that about him, knowing that, you know, when push came to shove, he could get down and dirty and he had no problem doing it. Or when he wanted to be cute and pretty, he can go ahead and do that as well. So I always liked watching Sugar Ray Leonard. Let's see here. One of you Wiggity Split, favorite fighter, Mike Tyson. Spence is not flashy, but he's very sound and hard worker. I agree. What's your all-time pound-per-pound list looking like? Do you have Sugar Ray higher than Ali? That's very subjective. And then when you start getting into the discussion of is an athlete now or an athlete 10 years ago better than an athlete 40 years ago, it just it lends itself to all sort of subjective arguments. So like, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't know. My pound for pound, Sugar Ray Robinson, just off the top of my head, Sugar Ray Robinson, Ali, Joe Louis, Henry Armstrong, Sugar Ray Leonard, Will-O-Wisp, fucking A. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. But then you got to look at it too. You know, a lot of those guys, if you were put them in fights with current athletes now, a lot of those guys would lose, man, to a lot of these guys now. And I know a lot of people be like, oh, no, you're crazy. No, but they lose because the guys now are so much more athletic. And when you look at them, a welterweight in the 40s and 50s is like a lightweight now compared to welterweights. Now, welterweights now are freaking middleweights. They're cutting from middleweight down to make 147. So, like, welterweights now would beat the welterweights of the 50s and 60s. No problem, you know. These guys are so much more bigger. All right, back to more of your questions. They say Tyson versus McNeely was the most watched pay-per-view event because it was Tyson's first fight after 4 years in prison. No, the most viewed pay-per-view is the Pacquiao, Mayweather-Pacquiao one. Chocolatito or Cal Yafi, my bad, Steve. We don't know if Choco's going to come back, man, and even if he comes back, we don't know what version of Choco's going to be, you know. It's kind of up in the air with him right now, which is it sucks because Choco's a good dude, man, and you don't want to see people go out the way he did, you know, so we'll see what happens to him. Yo, Choco MC, saludos de Argentina, Maldonado Box, de qué parte de Argentina? What's up, man? Thank you for tuning in. Best boxing gyms for pros or for people looking to start. When you choose a gym, guys, you just got to choose what they offer and what they can offer to you. If you want to get one-on-one instruction, obviously pick a gym that has the personnel to be able to give you one-on-one time. If you're looking at just for a pure fitness aspect, you know, go to a non-hardcore gym, I would say, like more of a fitnessy type boxing gym, like a Title Boxing Club, or, you know, Box and Burn here in California, something like that. But if you want to like actually like legit train and learn and spar with guys that are about to be professional or they're working amateurs, I'd go to the old school gyms. I know of them here in California. If you were in California, I could tell you, but I don't know where you're from. So let's see here. Floor Ritual, do you have a favorite boxing company? Do you prefer one over the other? No, I don't. They're all good peeps. OG Bullet, go Dodgers. Let's see if they make it to the World Series. Do you think Tony Yoka is an upcoming super heavyweight star like Joshua? Certainly there's a lot of hype on Tony Yoka given what he achieved in the Olympics, given that Richard Schaefer is promoting him as well. He has a lot of hopes and aspirations for Tony Yoka. I think, you know, whenever you're a heavyweight and you have the accomplishments that he has at an amateur level, there's always going to be a certain expectation as to what people expect from you and how far you will go. If he keeps winning, yes, he can be a star, and at some point he will be on a collision course with Anthony Joshua. But we just got to see more from him. He's very early on in the stages of his career, so we got to see him little by little get in there with better competition to really gauge where he's at and if he's going to be the real deal and how the improvements continue to go and grow with him. All right. A few more questions, guys, from you. Yeah, that was sad to watch Roman. That happened to Roman, man. I felt bad for him, man. Just seeing him on the floor like that, and a lot of Nicaraguan fans there that night too when that happened. And I saw a lot of grown men cry, man, or about to cry. The Nicaraguan press was silent, and you could tell they wanted to cry as well. So it was crazy. Cordoba, saludos. Yeah, he is a humble dude, Kid Stacy. Bruce asks, Marcos, who you got on Lemieux versus Saunders? Let's see here. Okay, sorry, I read a question about from Gary M about new fighters in Ireland. You guys have a lot of new blood coming out of that country, man. So big ups to you guys. It's always good when you get the Irish involved in boxing. You guys, phenomenal fan base. Love attending fights that there's Irish fighters and there's an Irish contingency, because you guys make it such a memorable environment. You guys are probably one of the most loyal and funnest fans. And every single Irish person I've met while covering boxing has always been good to me, always been friendly to me. So we need more Irish presence in the U.S. and a continuing Irish presence in the U.S. for boxing. So back to the Lemieux versus Saunders fight. And I answered this a little bit earlier, so I answer it quickly, Bruce. Saunders can win the fight. There's a blueprint on how to beat Lemieux. You just got to box him, use the jab, keep him off of you, and make him respect your power so that he's offset. Lemieux fights in straight lines, so if you're using lateral movement or you're making him reset every time, he can't do anything. He can't fight moving back. So if you push him back on that straight line and use lateral movement, he's going to have a very difficult time. Now, if Saunders allows Lemieux to come forward on him and land those punches, it's going to be a very long night for BJ Saunders. But I do see Saunders winning that fight. No, let me refrain that. I could see how both win. Stylistically, you would have to favor Saunders because Saunders can box Lemieux. And you've seen when you put a boxer in there who boxes Lemieux, they can do really well against him. Okay, more of your guys' questions. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you stayed with us this whole time, thank you for staying with us, guys. Really appreciate it. Okay. Let's see here. No, I can't read your name. 94 LT14 Mula? Or is that how you pronounce your name? What do you think about Cotton last fight? I thought he would fight someone better. I don't know. Cotto. You meant Cotto. Oh, his last fight. Yeah, Saddam Ali. You know what though? I wouldn't bash on Saddam Ali because Saddam he's good, man. He's fast. He has pop. He can box really well. So it's not like he's like some bum off the street. Like Saddam he's a good little opponent for Cotto, and you know, it's not like Cotto went to this fight first. Cotto wanted the Garcia fight. Cotto wanted the Spence fight. You know, it's just those guys said no to the fight because of the whole contract thing. If they were to fight Cotto, they had to be in contract to Golden Boy for 2 fights, and you can't blame Spence or Mikey either. You know, who wants to be in a contract when if you beat Cotto, there's a bigger fight that's presented to you, and now you're like stuck that you can't go to that bigger fight because you're stuck in a contract with the promoter. So you know, I see it from both sides. So I think, you know, obviously Cotto, he deserves a less harder fight in his final fight, but I have a feeling it's going to turn out to be a little bit more difficult than what people are expecting because Saddam it's a really fast guy and he can box, man. He has fast hands. Okay, more of your guys' questions. I'm getting to them right now. Let's see here. Muhammad Yassin Ismail. Do you think Cotto is going out on a low by fighting Ali? I just spoke about that. No, I don't. Cotto versus Mikey bout. That's not going to happen. This is Miguel Cotto's last fight against Saddam Ali. The Rap Collective. Thanks for answering. Any thoughts on Lomachenko Rigondeaux? Michael Conlon is on the undercard. That's perfect. There's going to be a lot of Irish in town then for that fight. It's a good fight. I think size plays a role in it, but maybe size is not going to play as big as a role as we're thinking, to be honest. Because when you look at Lomachenko, he's a small 130-pounder, okay? So is he really a full 130-pounder? You can make the argument, well, even though he's not the biggest 130-pounder, he's had fights already 130 pounds. He's used to guys with a bigger frame, with a bigger punch, being able to handle that amount of weight. So when he goes up against someone who's smaller naturally, and Rigondeaux, he's going to have not only the advantage of being the slightly bigger guy, but the advantage of knowing that he can handle a guy who's a full 130-pounder who obviously weighs more. They rehydrate 140 pounds, and he has that advantage knowing that Rigondeaux is probably not going to be able to match that strength. He'll be able to take those punches very, very well, but remains to be seen, you know. Maybe, man, that's a tough fight because Rigondeaux is going to move a lot, move in and out. Lomachenko's going to chase him. It's going to be a lot of feints, a lot of staring at each other for like 30 seconds, trying to, you know, see what the other does. I'd favor Lomachenko because of the size, but yeah, we'll see what happens. That's a tough one, guys. I'm excited for that one. Ozzy, thanks, man. Appreciate your guys your support as well, man. Gary, no problem, bro. Wickedy, thanks for being here the whole time. Let's see and get to some of your guys' questions. Thoughts on Eddie Hearn coming to the U.S.? The more the merrier, man. More competition, the more it makes these other promoters hustle and bring better fights to us. You're funny, guy. You're going to be me for Halloween. That's funny. Roman, what's up, bro? How's it going? Are you a fan? Juan Guerrero, are you a fan of Dragon Ball Super? This is the best question I've been asked the whole entire thing. I freaking love Dragon Ball Super. Like, right now, like, I thought the freaking Goku Black was, like, the best story arc they freaking had ever in the show. And then this Tournament of Power story arc is freaking awesome. Dude, man, Jiren messing up Hit, man, he took out Hit. He made Hit look like a bitch. Like, he took him out there real quick, man. And it's the preview made it look like Hit was gonna do like well against Jiren. Like, he's doing time skip. He's landing these punches that Goku couldn't even land. And then yeah, Jiren takes care of him. I'm interested to see who's the Super Warrior from like Universe 4 that ends up and showing up. I saw like a picture of him, and it's like some little insect guy. So we'll see what happens, man. And then if Goku ends up getting Ultra Instinct again, and Dragon Ball Super Sonteo Media is freaking, it's the continuation of Dragon Ball Z. That's what it is. It picks up the story after Goku beats Majin Buu, Kid Buu. It's legit. If you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, you need to watch it, dude. It's the best freaking show out there if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan. And on a final note on that, I think Goku's gonna end up losing. They're gonna erase that universe, but they're gonna end up wishing all the universes back. I think that's what's gonna happen. All right, guys, I'm at the hour mark now for questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick a final question. I'm gonna pick the best one, and then I gotta go out of here because I gotta upload videos for you guys. I still got a ton of videos to upload for you guys. So I'm gonna pick the best question or the most interesting question from you guys. So go ahead and send in the questions right now. This will be the last one. So better make it good, make it interesting. Go ahead and ask anything, and then we'll go ahead and close this out. It's live Q&A. All right, getting questions from you guys here. Let's see. Well, I guess the lucky question might go to this person right here. I'm going to wait for you guys to throw in questions. Steve's question is good. Let's see. Where's Steve? Okay, that's a good one also. Any more questions? If not, I'm going to go ahead and pick the final question. All right, final question. Even though Steve did ask a good question, there's a lot of guys out there that can be considered the best prospect out there. But I think we gotta wait and see, because this PBC series is putting a lot of the prospects, and it's kind of like a process of elimination right now with them. So I kind of want to wait and see what happens. Hold on, Wilbert Holmes. I think that everyone is sleeping on Goku. I think that Jiren gave Goku his best, but I think that he knows that Goku is stronger than he expected. I don't know, man. Like, because when Goku landed that strike, like, Jiren finally, like, powered up. Like, he saw, like, that flame aura go over him. So it got me thinking, like, that's not even close to being Jiren's limit, you know? Like, Jiren barely, like, powered up, you know? And that was Goku at his limit. Now, can he go past that limit? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with this thing, with his Ultra Instinct. Can he be at Ultra Instinct and then go, like, Super Saiyan? And then Super Saiyan Blue? Like, there's a lot of questions, like, I'm still, like, wondering in my head, like, what's the limit of Ultra Instinct? And then you notice, like, when Goku was on the rock, like, when he made that scream, it was like, it was him screaming, but it was like a dark evil scream. And I read, like, a theory online that when they're referring to, like, this heat, because Whis mentioned the heat, Jiren mentioned the heat is actually referring to Goku's Saiyan nature, his, like, real Saiyan nature. So they're thinking, like, the more Goku does Ultra Instinct, the more of his real true Saiyan self that comes out, and he has a propensity to be evil. So, and we've seen that happen, like, when Goku goes from Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan 3, he gets a little bit more menacing, a little bit more evil. That's a Dragon Ball Super side note. Okay, so I'm going to answer the last boxing question, which is Kid Stacy. Who do you think? What division do you think will be unified next? Undisputed unified. That's a good one. The next one to be unified. Well, super middleweight with the boxing, world boxing, super cruiserweight as well. I can see that those two will probably be unified by the end of the year. I don't think welterweight will be unified by the end of the year. Well, it could with Spence and Thurman if they fight by December of next year. I don't think featherweight's going to be unified anytime soon. 135. Linares can end up unifying it. Oh, he has to fight Mikey, and who knows about that fight now. Yeah, I see it as 168, 175 are the ones that are probably going to be unified fairly quickly in the near future. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I got to upload videos for you guys. I got a ton of stuff for you still. I got Joshua, Eddie Hearn, Miguel Cotto, De La Hoya. Tons of stuff I still got to work on and get out to you guys. So go ahead and follow us. Social media. Excuse me. Drink coffee and salad. At Fight Hub TV. Twitter, Instagram. Do it right now. At Fight Hub TV. Please follow us. Follow me as well. At Hey, it's Marcos V. And continue supporting the channel, guys. Continue watching our movies. And this is the most important thing you guys can do to ensure this channel continues and survives and keeps growing. We need you guys that have supported us through all these years to really spread the faith. Go ahead and tell the people that aren't subscribed to our channel to subscribe, and the people that you know don't watch our channel or haven't heard of our channel or are casual combat sports fans in boxing or MMA, to go ahead and subscribe to our channel so we continue growing and we continue being able to produce the stuff that we're producing for you guys as well. So, the other thing, we have a new unboxing video that we're going to go ahead and release on Saturday. We're unboxing the gloves that Conor McGregor used in his fight with Floyd Mayweather. And I'm going to try to go ahead and film a follow-up video of that, testing out the glove on a watermelon. It's slow motion. It's going to be funny. I'm trying to put it together right now. So the follow-up video will be after, but on Saturday, the unboxing video will be released as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this live chat. I really appreciate it. We're going to shoot to have live chats every Monday. The problem with yesterday was I had a lot of stuff to do with my parents. I helped them out with a few things, okay? So that's why we didn't do it yesterday. But the goal is every Monday we're recapping the action that happened on that past weekend, whether it's in boxing or MMA. And we're going to go ahead and open it up to the live questions with you guys. If there's no fights, we'll just go straight into the live Q&A. So I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Go ahead and subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe and follow us at Fight Up TV, at Hey, it's Marcos V as well. Have a good rest of your guys' Tuesday, guys. Taco Tuesday. Hit up the tacos. Be safe out there. Be kind to each other. And just good vibes out there with everybody. Peace. See you later, guys.